Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered. Wow, a lot of stuff happened the first week of June this year. Damn. I don't know where to start. I guess, let's start with sad news. On June 3rd, June 2nd, on June 2nd, approximately 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time, U.S. Marine Corps Captain Jeff Kuss, K-U-S-S, was killed when his Blue Angel crashed at the beginning of a practice in Smyrna, Tennessee. I hope I said that right, Smyrna. He was killed. Of course, squadron was put on stand down while the investigation happens into the crash. I've heard that he didn't eject from the plane because he was over a populated area. Again, the best pilots in the world, best training in the world, they do what they have to do. Unfortunately, this cost him his life. He leaves a family, wife and kids, and all his teammates from the Blue Angels, everybody. But I'm sure that, as a pilot, he went doing what he loved to do. If that wasn't enough, the same day in Colorado, just after the flyover of the Air Force Academy graduation, Thunderbirds number 6 crashed. That pilot was all right. That plane was piloted. Oh man, now I gotta find it. By Major Alex Turner, Air Force Major, flying in Thunderbird 6, and it was weird because the Blue Angel that crashed was Blue Angel number 6. So a little hinky if you're into superstitions, the whole magic numbers thing, 6th month, 2, plane number 6 is down. And I'm concerned because I'm supposed to be going to Rhode Island on Friday night for an air show on Saturday featuring the Thunderbirds. They were also put on stand down, which is common practice in the service when an accident like this happens, the squadron goes on shutdown or stand down, and you don't fly, everything's investigated, every little piece of paper having to do with the maintenance, every person that touched that plane or even looked at that plane is questioned. And these things take from a couple of days to years to figure out. I've got my fingers crossed that because the Thunderbirds pilot ejected and was not killed, that the investigation will be a little bit easier into what happened to that aircraft. Anyway, our thoughts and prayers go out to all the family, friends, all who were affected by these two unfortunate incidents. And they're accidents. This is another one of those cases where when you join the military, when you sign your name on that line, you're signing your life. And it doesn't have to be wartime for a member of our military to lose his life in service of his country. These pilots were role models to probably millions of kids. I remember as a kid growing up when the Blue Angels came to Keene. There was a crash at the Keene airport of Blue Angels. They were flying F-4 Phantom aircraft at the time, and one of them went off the end of the runway. Yeah, but as a kid, You looked up to these kind of people. I know things changed when Top Gun came along. There was a lot more sexiness involved in being a military pilot. But even before Top Gun came out, pilots were, especially military pilots that could fly like that. 30 inches between wingtip and canopy at 500 miles an hour. That's incredible. And they're role models, and they go around and they promote. For one thing, they promote the military, which is great for any kid. I'm telling you, it's a level of respect, it's a level of self-confidence, and you learn all this stuff. Self-esteem. You can't wear a Marine, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force. You can't wear one of those uniforms and not be proud. Just something about it. And besides that, these two flight demonstrations team, they basically go around the country showing the taxpayers what our money pays for. And no, it's not just pretty airplanes that fly real fast and do super tricks. Every single maneuver that these pilots use in an air show are actual combat maneuvers that every pilot in the military learns. Yeah. And being in the Navy, I know that by the time these guys get to the level of flying with the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds, or in Canada they've got the Snowbirds, these are the best, the top of their class, the epitome of pilots. They are there in every respect, not just their flight skills. And if you watch these guys, even when they go out to their airplanes to start the show, it's a show. As they approach their aircraft, it's military precision. It's the only way you can describe it. It's fantastic. So the Rhode Island Air Show this weekend, it's down in North Kingstown, Rhode Island. And, even without the Thunderbirds, it's going to be a great day on Saturday. So get out and do something, Take that 3-hour drive down there to Rhode Island and enjoy the planes. And, there's going to be civilian demonstrators there. There's aerobatic teams, other military demonstrations. There's big planes you can walk through and see. And you can see the hardware that we have. Anyway, so enough about that, all right? But I just love them so much. What else happened? Muhammad Ali died? And I just heard a reference, somebody on one of the radio shows I was listening to said Muhammad Ali was a lot like Donald Trump is. Boisterous and self-promoting. Because when you've got self-esteem that's up to here, when you know that you're this good, like Muhammad Ali was, you can kind of act like that, I guess. But 74 years old, and I thought he was older for some reason. But 74, you got to remember, all you guys that are 75, 76, 77, thinking, geez, I wish I could live 10 years longer. 74 years old, this guy was a man that was in fighting shape most of his life. A finely honed athlete. and he still died at 74. Again, my whole plan of, there should be a maximum age of 75. There you go, 74. A lot of people die in their 70s. And medical costs shoot through the roof trying to keep people alive into their 90s and 100s. And it's only going to get worse. So Muhammad Ali died. There were services. He was going to have this big, multi-denominational funeral was what he wanted. He was Muslim. There was no, probably the first recognized Muslim in the United States, or the one that everybody made the most noise about back in the day when he came out and changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali and said, hey, I'm Muslim, deal with it. He was highly against the Vietnam War. And because of his views on about the Vietnam War, he was banned from fighting. But he stuck to his views. Went on to become, again, a legend, a hero. Little kids looked up to Muhammad Ali and wanted to be just like him. Which, again, in my mind, there are good role models and there are bad role models. And while Muhammad Ali was a finely tuned athlete and everything, and he was no doubt a winner, he made his living off of beating the hell out of people and getting the hell beat out of him. And again, these days, all the concerns about, just like in football, the boxers get a lot of concussions. I mean, they get smacked in the head so many damn times. Does it affect them later in life and blah, 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 and all this? There's health concerns. I don't know. But apparently people like watching people beat the snot out of each other. I don't know. We live in a more and more violent world all the time. And speaking of the ultimate violence, which I've got to tell you, this about killed me last week. Actually, it was a week and a half ago, and I didn't talk about it last week because I wanted to do a whole Memorial Day thing, and I thought that came out to be a pretty good show. Let's talk about the Cleveland Zoo, Cincinnati Zoo, I guess it was. That's right, yes. 4-year-old kid finds his way into a gorilla enclosure, gets, basically swatted around by the gorilla a little bit, and then park rangers kill the gorilla. And people are up in arms. Oh my God, how could you kill that poor damn gorilla? Where were the parents of this little 4-year-old kid? And then the Facebook memes, and even right down to, for one thing, I think we are all together I'm trying to figure out how to say this. We think more of our animals than we do of our people. And that's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You take an animal's life over a human life? You're a horrible person. Anyway, Facebook memes even took it to a racist point. Had the picture of the white gorilla with the whole, oh, I bet the white gorilla would have just been tranquilized. But one thing, tranquilizers don't work immediately. You don't shoot a tranquilizer dart at a huge animal like that and have it just fall over like they do in the movies. Tranquilizer darts, first thing, that happens when you hit an animal with a tranquilizer dart is he freaks out a little bit because he just got shot. So first thing that happens is his adrenaline spikes because something just stabbed him in the ass. And who knows what would have happened to the kid. The gorilla felt threatened. There's no telling. I didn't see the whole video. I've only seen bits and pieces of the video. I'm sure like most everybody else. So I can't say exactly how the gorilla was acting. But it's probably a good thing that, you know, these zoo people weren't around when Tarzan was being raised. Tarzan was raised by gorillas. He was nurtured by gorillas. Yeah. So, you know, it's not a sure thing that the gorilla would have killed the kid. On the other hand, a gorilla is a wild animal. For one thing, they shouldn't be kept in cages. They should be out in the wild away from people. You know, people they go so crazy when, you know, all of a sudden, here, I'll use Keene as an example. Actually, I can't remember, I think Boston, somewhere down near Boston, there was a moose running through a town. But like here in Keene, people get all freaked out when, you know, there's a bear in their backyard attacking their bird feeders. You know? And they can't figure out, geez, how come there's so many bears around all of a sudden? There's not so many bears all of a sudden. It's that we have built houses where the bears used to live. And now the bears have to live in your backyard. And if you put any food out, they're going to smell it and come, you know? Again, if you want to go scientific and look at, you know, all the facts and everything, just like, you know, man's influence on climate change, man is also destroying the wildlife. We're trying not to, or some are trying not to. People that feel, you know, hunting is bad. Well, you know, in some cases, hunting is good. Because occasionally herds get too big. There's not enough food for them. So they starve off and die. By keeping the herds of different animals and the numbers of different animals in a steady range, you can sustain the wildlife. You know? As white men, we did all we could to you know, make the buffalo extinct. Slowly making a comeback on that front. Not, I don't think 10 years ago, bald eagles were very, very close to extinction. There were fewer and fewer and fewer numbers of bald eagles. Bald eagles are starting to make a comeback. Even in this area. And it's a great thing, it's a beautiful thing. It's the earth and everything on it, you know? So anyway, as far as the parents of a kid, anybody who's ever had a 4-year-old knows that, yeah, if you take your eyes off them for a second, they're gone. They're quick little buggers. Once they learn that those 2 feet, you know, you really have to watch your kids. And one thing that struck me is if a 4-year-old kid could get into the gorilla cage, it seems to me the gorilla would be smart enough to get out. And that could be dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. You want to see wildlife? Go out in the wild. Don't go to a zoo. I mean, I know there's all these animal rights activists that preach against zoos. And, well, I guess zoos are all right. I don't know, you know? A penguin doesn't belong in Arizona. Or San Diego, you know? Or Florida. It's just, maybe we keep our hands off wildlife. We look at it. We appreciate it from a distance. Because after all, they're wild animals. Even a dog. I mean, there's a lot of talk these days about this whole service dogs and therapy dogs and things like that. These are still animals. And even the most docile dog can flip out at any time. He's an animal. So, there are concerns, I'm sure. All right. Let's see. I talked about that. I ran down through the Yahoo Odd News, and there's not really anything good. Man who held up Denver bank got a cab ride to and from the robbery. Again, here we go. Tasmanian devil returns to San Diego Zoo after pacemaker surgery. Apparently now we're giving animals pacemakers. In the wild, this thing would die. So here we are playing God, you know? You can't play God. All right, I'm done. A woman caught a deer and sold it. Oh, did you hear about this from Massachusetts last week? It was beautiful. A 5-year-old kid called 911 to report that his father had gone through a red light. The guy didn't get a ticket, but good on you, kid. Back seat driving and all from your little car seat back there. Kid knows the rules of the road, and he's gonna make sure his dad follows him because the kid doesn't want to die. Smart. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, Fox 25 had the kid on. They interviewed him and stuff. Columbia, South Carolina, apparently a grandfather apologizes for picking up wrong boy from school. That's, and I found a church that I want to belong to. Ellettsville, Indiana. 6 eat cookies at church, later test positive for marijuana. Sounds like my kind of church. A little bit of wine, a little bit of pot cookies. Woo-hoo. We got us a party with the Lord, apparently. Yeah, I know. I'm going to hell for that. I don't care. It's still probably better than this place. 1 year probation for a man who threw an alligator into a restaurant. And apparently, Beach Mountain, North Carolina, the Land of Oz theme park reopens. So, you know, if you're really into the Wizard of Oz and you want to see the theme park, you go on down. All right, so that's enough of Yahoo News. Let's go. About 3 minutes left, so let's give you some more facts that you can use tomorrow at work to blow the minds of all your coworkers. And I've got some good ones. I'm on page 2 at the facts site. Heart attacks are more likely to happen on Monday. So thank God it didn't happen this week. So Maybe next week. This is a little disturbing, but I'm going to read it to you anyway, just so you're aware. The average person's yearly fast food intake will contain 12 pubic hairs. Basically one a month. So, and you know, how fresh they are depends on which fast food chain you go to, apparently. I don't know why page 2 has a lot of bodily jokes. The top 6 foods that will make you gassy. See how I said gassy instead of fart, right? Oops. The 6 top foods that will make you fart are beans, corn, bell peppers, cauliflower, cabbage, and milk. So don't ever put those on your shopping list again. A toaster uses almost half as much energy as a full-size oven. You cannot snore and dream at the same time. So, if your partner is snoring, they ain't dreaming. So go ahead and kick them, wake them up. All right, write this down. Do geese see God? All right. You can read that frontward and backwards. And it reads the same thing. A sheep, a duck, and a rooster. I know it sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, but a sheep, a duck, and a rooster were the first passengers in a hot air balloon. In Uganda, 50% of the population is under 15 years old. I bet the schools are jumping there. Wow, I'm not going to read that. This is a good one. You thought Arab women were treated badly, but Arab women can initiate a divorce if their husbands don't pour coffee for them. Yes. And Facebook, Skype, and Twitter are all banned in China. My time is up, but I'll leave you with this. 95% of people text things that they could never say in person. So till next time, I'm Rick Blood. This is Unfiltered. Peace.